Hello and welcome to the Box Score Network NFL preview show on YouTube. I'm Simon Short. Joining us today, as always, is Austin, Ben, and Parker. A couple programming notes for everybody. Thank you so much for being here on the YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you like this video. If you haven't already, make sure you check Austin and the rest of the Tricky Takes crew previewing the World Series. Still some good stuff on that. Just a few days into the series, so make sure you check that out. And if you're coming to us, if you're finding us for the first time here on YouTube, we are a network of audio podcasts as well. So we each have a podcast part of Box Score Network. So make sure you're checking that out. If you go to our Twitter page, at B Score Network, you could see updates on our individual shows as well. So if you're just a first time or just a YouTube viewer, make sure you're checking us out on the audio platforms as well. Let's get into it, guys. It's going to be kind of a crazy week. I think there's some very interesting games from a learning perspective, but not a lot from an entertainment perspective. A lot of injuries to get through. But let's hit our game of the week first. We have the Buffalo Bills at the Seattle Seahawks. Bills are favored by 3. Ben, give us your thoughts. What are you thinking? What are you looking for here in Bills Seahawks?
I was back and forth on this game all week, and it's my official most funnest game of the week. So when you picked it for game of the week, I was like, yeah, this one just has the makings of the feel of a fun game. I mean, both teams come in competitive. I've called the Seahawks frauds all year. They proved me wrong last week. If they do it again this week, I'll quit calling them frauds, okay? But it has the feel of a really, really fun game. Back and forth, both teams missing some pieces. Probably Seattle still more than Buffalo. I'm still not convinced that this is a great Buffalo defense. I think Seattle can put up some points here. Ultimately, I'm going to pick the Bills, but this is tight. I have gone back and forth on this game all week.
Austin, what are your thoughts here?
I like the Bills in this game, and it's really for one reason, and that is the Seahawks defense is pretty good overall, but weak in the red zone. And the Bills have one of the best red zone offenses in the sport. And so, kind of combining those two, it's a strength on a weakness in the most crucial area of the field. And I think that's going to be a little too much for the Seahawks to overcome. So I think the Bills are going to win this game ultimately. With that being, I think we're going to see a pretty crucial few red zone touchdowns by the Bills.
And especially having Amari Cooper in there now, that gives them another red zone target that's really helpful. Thinking about that same unit matchup, Parker, I'm going to skip over you here myself. Seattle is also 23rd in EPA allowed per rush, 17th in DVOA. And the Bills have been really strong in the run game this year. First few games was great, kind of slowed down a little once teams figured out what they wanted to do. But Amari Cooper coming back, I think, opens up their run game and it gets their identity back for a bit. Buffalo is sixth on the season in EPA per rush and seventh in DVOA. So these teams are pretty square in a lot of areas, with the Bills just kind of like narrowly inching out the Seahawks for advantages in the pass game, pass defense, pass rush, or not pass rush, but things like that. But the run game, run defense is really where Seattle's at a deficit here. So I think the Bills are going to get going in the run game as well. Parker, what are some things you're looking for in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the Bills like easily. I don't know why my head like instantly goes Bills over Seahawks. And I mean, one thing, DK's not playing, that's a big deal for me on the offensive side of the ball.
Mhm.
And I look at it as like, dude, the Bills are fifth in points this year, points per game.
Pretty good.
So they I think it's 28.3 or something like that they average per game. That means I have to trust the Seahawks offense without DK Metcalf to put up 28.3 points. And I don't see that happening very often. So I'm going to take the Bills here, plain and simple. I think this one's going to be about a touchdown game.
Yeah, in Seattle, you mentioned health. Let's go through some of the injuries. Seattle's front is getting healthier. Leonard Williams is going to be in this. The rookie Byron Murphy's going to be in this, but they are missing DK Metcalf, as you mentioned. George Fant at right tackle looks like he might be in line to play this week, which would be huge for them. And on the defensive end, to Ben's point about not trusting the Bills defense, when Terrell Bernard has been out, the linebacker, they have really suffered, and he's not going to be in this game. So that's going to be a big missing piece for them. Last thing I'll say here, Seattle is fourth in pressure rate. They're doing a great job of getting after the quarterback, but Josh Allen is sixth in EPA per dropback when pressured, and despite taking the 13th most pressures and having the sixth highest time to throw. So he's holding the ball back there. He's getting a lot of pressure, but he's so effective under pressure, and he's taking the fifth fewest sacks in the league when under pressure. So I think the Bills are going to be able to neutralize a lot of what Seattle wants to do here. Does anybody have anything else on our game of the week before we move on?
Should be a
All
fun one.
right. So we all picked the Bills, which leads us into updating everybody on how we're doing on our picks. So once again, the four horsemen, when we're all in line, we're 31 and 15 on the season after last week. That's just over 67%. Let's see here. Ben is leading the way at with 60% hit rate when he is solo at 3 and 2. So we're not great when we're doing that by ourselves. The best pairing has been overtaken. Austin and Ben take a back seat to Ben and Parker. Very fitting. They are 4 and 1 when they're on the same side of things. The worst group, I'm sure it's someone with me. Yeah, it's Parker and I together, 2 and 5. So sorry, everybody. My bad on that one. But let's get into our individual lines on the season. Austin is 60 and 39. Ben is 65 and 34 in first place. Parker and I are tied at 56 and 43. We're going to pick the rest of the games now. Our first game that we have up is Ravens at Browns, and the Ravens are favored by 8. Cleveland has Jameis Winston starting at quarterback. Austin, give us your thoughts here.
Yeah, I mean, I love me some famous Jameis, but I mean, this is just the Ravens game to win.
Ooh,
So I'm
ooh, slip. Watch out.
Freudian slip there. I'm actually taking the Browns.
Change it in the doc. Change it in the doc. Ben, Ravens, Browns.
This should be the Ravens by a lot, but it's not unusual for the Ravens to kind of flounder around when they're playing in this 1 o'clock window. And Cleveland's still got plenty of players here, and I don't know that they're not going to come out with more energy for this game than they would have if Deshaun Watson were lining up. So I figure this game's a little bit closer than maybe what the line is showing, but Ravens to win for sure.
Parker.
Yeah, I'm right there with him, man. The Ravens should have this game. I know the AFC North gets a little nasty here and there, especially in matchups with big spreads that just end up being a close game. But I just don't think Cleveland has enough to keep up.
Yeah, I think we might get like one really early deep shot, like Jameis to
Mhm.
pick some Cedric Tillman or something, because that's what he's good at, and that's what the Ravens aren't great at. But there's not going to be enough of those for the Browns to win this one. Give me the Ravens as well. Titans at Lions is our next game. We have the Lions favored by 11 and a half. Parker, let's hit you first on this one. What do you got for Titans at Lions?
Lions next.
Ben?
Period. It's very simple.
Yeah, I think so. Ben?
There are 3 or 4 games this week where we may have to pull the bully off of the victim. All right. And this is one of them. I'm convinced that the Lions are going to win this one by a lot. Other than the Titans defense maybe holding down the fort early in this game, I don't see any reason why the Titans are going to hang close. I mean, it's in Detroit. Detroit's hot. The offense is hot. The defense is holding its own. Titans are going to struggle to score points. I mean, where do I stop? I mean, Lions here by 20 points. I'd be comfortable with that.
Awesome.
Yeah, this game comes into my bets at the end, but not in a way you think. I'm taking the Lions here by a lot.
Yeah, give me the Lions. This will be their official in-house tryout for their starting defensive ends for the rest of the season before they make a trade next week. Cardinals at Dolphins, and a barn burner here, guys. Cardinals at Dolphins. The Dolphins are favored by 4. Tua is set to come back. Tua's going to be playing in this game. Everyone's very excited. Tyreek is very excited. Raheem Mostert is very cautious about the whole situation. Austin, hit us first. What do you got in this one?
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins have been probably the worst team in football since Tua was gone. I think it gets a lot better, but I don't think definitely doesn't fix the problems they've been having on defense. So I'm going to take the Cardinals anyways.
Ben?
I like the Dolphins in this game, but it should be very tight. And I expect a choppy game. Cardinals have played choppy all year, kind of hot sometimes, not hot other times. And the Dolphins, even with Tua back, I don't expect this offense to just go right back to being fuel efficient, right? So I expect some big plays and tight game, but it's at Miami. Give me the Dolphins.
Parker?
I'm going to stick with Ben here. I'm going to pick the Dolphins, and the Dolphins have been kind of choppy. And I agree with Austin. The defense hasn't been great, but there have been times where the Arizona offense doesn't look great either. Like it doesn't look like it's doing hardly anything. So I'm going to take Miami based off of just team morale, having Tua back. I'm not going to watch this game. I probably won't watch Tua for a few weeks until I know that he's back in NFL form and he's not just getting killed. So give me the Dolphins at home against the Cardinals.
Yeah, give me the Dolphins too. I agree that I think it'll be a little rough waters to start for Miami's offense, but this Cardinals defense is where you want to do it, right? If you want to kind of get back on track. So I think they'll get it back together here. Dolphins in this one for me too. Jets at Patriots. The Jets are favored by 7. Ben, kick us off here. What do you like in this one?
There are two or three teams this week that got to have a win. Their season is not over, but they have to win now. They just can't keep putting it off. The Jets are one of those. I expect the Jets to win this game. I'll pick them to win this game, but the Patriots have a chance. They've got some energy here. They're fighting. They're playing hard too. I expect a tight game here. Not the prettiest game, but give me the Jets, maybe 20-17.
Austin.
This is going to be Drake May's welcome to the NFL game, divisional against one of the better defenses. And they haven't been as good since Robert Saleh got fired. Who would have guessed that? But they're still very talented. So give me the Jets.
Parker.
Yeah, the Jets have to get a win. There's a couple things going on with the Jets, like adding Devontae Adams. And I heard he gave like the post game speech last week after the game, which is very crazy that the guy was there for 2 days and then talked to the team after a tough loss. But I think the Jets have to get in shape here. I'm with Austin. I think Drake May is about to not get a rude awakening, but he's definitely gonna see what it's like to play in one of these games. So give me the Jets.
Yeah, give me the Jets too. Corners, Michael Carter II and DJ Reed are both back in this one. That was a big issue for them against the Steelers last week on Sunday night. So give me those guys to get back and get that pass defense back under control against the rookie. Falcons at Bucks, divisional rematch already. We have the Falcons favored by 2.5. Austin, what do you think here?
Yeah, Buccaneers are without their two best receivers. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough the rest of the season. Well, it's at least until Mike's back. Mike will be back hopefully in the next 3 or 4 weeks. But until then, Falcons have looked pretty solid. I'll take the Falcons.
Parker.
Yeah, this is like one of my favorite bets of the week. The fact that this is just a field goal spread, knowing that the Buccaneer offense is going to have a hard time putting up 17 points this week, amazes me. Knowing how, even though Atlanta put up a stinker against the Seahawks, like they're going to bounce back this week and they're going to put up some points, especially in a division game like this where they know they can get the Bucks while they're down. Yeah, they scored a lot of points last time against them too. They just played like 3 weeks ago. So give me Atlanta to cover the spread and beat the Bucks by a good amount without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah, this was the Kirk Cousins 500 yards game.
Hmm.
Ben, what do you got here?
This one was actually tough for me, even with Tampa Bay missing their two receivers. Obviously, that's a huge hit. But a couple of reasons why it is still so tight. Buccaneers still playing decent, even though statistically the defense is not. Buccaneers still look very good with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. Sometimes even without two receivers on the field, he's still able to move the football. Falcons defense isn't great. They're still giving up yards, even though they're kind of hanging in there fighting. Kirk Cousins has still been inconsistent. The Falcons historically have been inconsistent in these situations, and it's at Tampa Bay. And oh, by the way, Tampa Bay needs this game because if they lose it, they're not only a game behind Atlanta, but they lose the tiebreaker with Atlanta. So they're really 2 games behind Atlanta. So a little bit of desperation kicking in here. The offensive coordinator, I think it's Liam Cohen for Tampa Bay, has done a good job here this year with them. So I expect this to be tight, but I just can't pick Tampa Bay, all things considered. Give me the Falcons.
Yeah, give me the Falcons too. I think Kirk Cousins can handle what this Bucks defense is throwing at him this year, and I think Bucks offense might get back on track without those top two guys, but I don't think very first week. I don't think they're gonna have it together just yet. Give me the Falcons. Packers at Jaguars. The resurgent Jaguars are coming back for everybody's lunch. We have the do. Where's the line on this one? Oh man, the Packers are favored by 4 on the road in Jacksonville. Parker, what do you got here?
Give me Green Bay. Jordan Love is here. Jordan Love is back. The Green Bay Packers look really good. Josh Jacobs is doing his thing, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, like they've been out of the country for 2 weeks. Completely different time zone. Probably gonna have to get readjusted here back in the States. And Doug Peterson still doesn't impress me, even though he beat the Patriots. I'm not gonna forget the loss to the Bears right before that. That was pretty ugly. So give me Green Bay and Matt LaFleur in this one.
Austin.
Yeah, I've got the Packers for pretty much every reason that Parker mentioned there.
Ben.
Parker encapsulated it very well. I'll add one thing to it. My biggest reason for picking the Packers to win here is that the Jaguars' defense still is terrible. I mean, they are dragging up the rear of the league, and until they at least get competitive on defense, it's hard to pick them to win against a decent team, which the Packers are more than decent.
Yeah, Jordan Love is what, Hansel from the Ben Stiller movie, right? He's just hot right now, right? Going against Jacksonville. I think this is gonna be another big Jordan Love game. Give me the Packers as well. Clean sweep. Colts at Texans. We have another divisional rematch. The Texans are favored by 5 in this one. Austin, what do you got?
Yeah, this one's, I mean, it's two pretty banged up teams in a divisional game. So I think this will be a fun, scrappy game, but the Texans are the better team, and I'm going to take them to win the game.
Parker.
Yeah, I'm right there with Austin. I mean, the division game, last time these teams played, I mean, they were both healthy actually, and game was a 2 point game. But I think the Texans are just a better team, and coming off a rough loss last week to Green Bay, they're not going to come out and lose to this Colts team. They need a win.
Ben.
Texans better team at home, like we've just talked about. So I'm obviously picking the Texans. What I'm really looking for here on the Colts side is A, will they keep Anthony Richardson in the game the whole time? And B, can they kind of sort of scheme up a little bit here with Shane Steichen to kind of help him out here? I mean, he's still developing. We know that, but there are times where he's miraculous. So I'm really looking for them to do some things to just kind of help him out from one week to the next, even if they don't win this game. Let's just get him on track here and improve some things here.
All right, and that was the Zoolander movie I was quoting. I almost said Zootopia, and I knew that wasn't right. Didn't want to put that out in the airwaves. Colts at Texans. I've got the Texans here. I'm not too worried about the Colts and their offense long term or what they're going to do. I think they'll have a fine game, but CJ Stroud going up against an opponent a second time, I think he's going to have the answers he's looking for. Eagles at Bengals to round out our early slate of games here. The Bengals are favored by 2.5 at home. Ben, let's kick it to you first on this one. What do you got?
So this is the next stop in the Bengals coming back from the dead tour. Okay, I buried them a few weeks ago, even knowing that they were having basically a 4 or 5 game stretch of rather easy teams and easy games. This isn't one of those. This is a complete popcorn game. Grab your popcorn, sit back. I don't know who's going to win this game. Both teams have really looked bad at times this year, in spite of the Eagles' record, and in spite of the fact that the Eagles statistically look good. They have looked dreadful at times and on the verge of just kicking Sirianni right out of his hot seat. Eagles need this. Bengals need this. Give me the Bengals in a really, really, really tight game here.
Austin.
This one has been the toughest one for me. This is probably my most funnest game, as Ben likes to call, for several reasons that I don't have time to get into here. Right now, I'm on the Eagles, though. Give me the Eagles.
Parker.
Yeah, this could have easily been game of the week this week. This would have been definitely the backup that I mentioned if we wanted to pivot off what we chose. But I'm going to take the Bengals. I agree with a lot with what Ben's saying. It's going to be a really good game. Grab your popcorn. I just think Sirianni, he just hasn't been impressive for me. And in big games like this, he's known to flop, especially these last 12, 15 games he's had with the Eagles. So give me the Bengals at home, the favorite team.
This is a really good, like, we're gonna learn a lot between these two teams game, which I'm really excited for. I went in depth on odds on favorite this week. Ben's podcast with Robertson Vire. Make sure you check that out, part of Box Score Network. But the tiebreaker for me and what I think is ultimately changing my mind here going into the weekend is T. Higgins is probably out. He went down with an injury on Friday, a hamstring injury, I believe, that just popped up on Friday. So that's not what you want to see, or quad even. That's yikes. You don't want to see that on Friday. You don't want to see that at any point midweek during the season. So give me the Eagles here to be the team that can do more of what they want to do at key points rather than the Bengals. Give me the Eagles with that injury. So that's our first even split. Me and Austin there up against Ben and Parker. That is not a good sign for me and Austin. All right, Saints at Chargers. Boy, Saints at Chargers, guys. I don't. Ben, you just dive in. Talk about your Saints, man. I don't know what to say.
The Saints are beat to pieces. I mean, they are one of about 3 or 4 teams that are just absolutely beat to pieces and tatters. they're getting a couple of guys back this week. It's Taysom Hill and another guy, so that will help. It's not going to be enough. You're on the road. You're going all the way across country to play a very, very physical Chargers team that is not looking great, frankly, but they're figuring out ways to win some of these games. And I just don't really see how the Saints are going to keep up here, to be honest. I don't think the Chargers score a whole bunch of points here, so it may not be a huge scoreboard blowout, but I just don't really see the Saints as having much chance. So give them the Chargers by, say, 10 points.
Parker.
Yeah, man, give me the Chargers. Saints are just too beat up. They don't have really anything they need to win this football game, in my opinion. And the Chargers have been getting some sloppy wins in games maybe they shouldn't have, or gotten sloppy in maybe one half of a game. But I think they'll keep it together here and get a win.
Austin.
Gosh, this one's tough again. I kind of agree with what you guys are saying. Yeah, I'm gonna go Chargers.
If I'd spent more time looking at the injury updates for the Saints, I might have considered going the other way because yeah, they're getting a lot of guys back this week. Cesar Ruiz is coming back. Linebacker Pete Warner is coming back. Chris Olave looks like he's coming back. He's going to be fine. Alvin Kamara is obviously there. Taysom Hill's coming back, like Ben mentioned. They're getting a lot of their guys back. I wouldn't be surprised if next week, if Derek Carr is back, that maybe they can start turning things back around. But for right now, until that happens, give me the Chargers as well. Bears at Commanders. This is obviously a game that's very much up in the air with the Jaden Daniels situation. It seems like he's going to be out, but they're saying they're at least going to trot him out pregame and see how he feels. But indications are that he is likely going to be out. The Bears are favored by 2.5. Austin, let's go to you first. What are you looking for in this one?
I'm taking the Commanders. I'm expecting Jaden Daniels to play. I saw no practice elevations from anybody for the Commanders, which I think indicates that he's going to be playing. And again, that you never know, but I have a gut feeling, call it. So give me the Commanders.
All right, Parker.
Yeah, I'm with Austin. I think Jaden Daniels is going to play. And if Jaden Daniels plays, give me the Commanders by a touchdown. Like they put up 40 points without him last week. Now they played a Carolina Panthers defense, but they put up 40 points without him. I think he went out like what, first quarter, early second. I think this offense can. I mean, I know it's the Bears defense, but I think they can keep it together, especially if he's on the field.
Ben.
I too think Jaden Daniels is actually going to play this game, but I don't think he should. That's a rib injury. It can be painful. It can linger. I would not trot him out here against this Bears defense. I know they want to play him. I know it's exciting. I know they want to win games. I know it's at home. To me, this is an organizational decision, and somebody needs to be the adult in the room and step the heck up and say, nope, just sit out a week or two. We'll figure it out as we go. But I think he's playing. I think he struggles a little bit with that rib injury. Give me the Bears. The Bears, you also have the Commanders' defense that I think as the season goes along is going to get exposed a little bit more than it has. Caleb Williams can throw for yardage. Give me the Bears in this game.
Yeah, give me the Bears. You know, Daniel's playing. I still, wow, I can't believe that. But even if he's playing, man, with those ribs and the way the Bears like to hit and play and go after guys, I mean, Kyler Gordon like screaming down on a nickel blitz or something against him, like one shot to the ribs can also just knock you out. And Mariota played well, but against that Bears defense, injured Daniels or backup Mariota, I don't love that. So go ahead and give me the Bears as well. Panthers at Broncos. Do we just want to skip that? Is everybody good? We done with these guys?
I mean,
Broncos are favored by 11. Bo Nix is getting 11 points, everybody. Parker, jump in.
yeah, Broncos, Brian, and Bo Nix just like the best quarterback. Like everyone knows that.
You calling him Joe Nix on
Yeah,
accident? Just
makes it
like
even better because he's average,
that's
average Joe Nix.
everything that we need to say.
I think he will be that average guy in the league, average Joe Nix. That's what I'll call him. But I give me the Broncos. I mean, it's very easy. Bryce Young is starting this week.
Bryce Young is back. The Bears have benched all of their players because they're trying to trade everyone. Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen both aren't playing. Ben Austin, do you guys have anything to add to this?
No.
No. Who would have thought that the Broncos would be this big of a favorite over anybody back at the start of the season? But here they are. The Panthers, if I'm the GM of the Panthers, I'm already looking at next year. There's no question about it. Now, your coaches and players shouldn't be, but the GM is. I mean, this season is unfortunately lost here.
From one miserable franchise to another, the Kansas City Chiefs. No, just kidding. The Las Vegas Raiders are playing the Kansas City Chiefs in what is Patrick Mahomes' revenge game for offseason comments. The Chiefs are favored by 9.5 at on the road, I should say. Ben, what do you think of this one?
Chiefs by a lot here. I actually feel very sorry for Antonio Pierce. I mean, he didn't have the best roster in the world to begin with. He brought a lot of energy in, but now, the best wide receiver on the team is gone, and you don't have great quarterback play, and you're a little bit injured and banged up still, even though Crosby's probably going to play. He's not going to be 100%. I mean, I wish they would just go ahead and give Antonio Pierce a 2 or 3 year extension just to kind of allow for the fact that, hey, we're in the process of putting this roster back together here, but give them the Chiefs by a lot this week.
Awesome.
Yeah, give me the Chiefs. This one, again, I'm expecting a 2 touchdown win. This will come back into play in my bet section.
Great tease, Parker.
All right. So the Las Vegas Raiders are the last team to beat the Chiefs. They're the last team to beat the Ravens, but they are the last team to lose to the Panthers. So I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs by a lot. Revenge game. Sticking. I'm riding the wave here. Kansas City Chiefs. Very easy.
Well done, man. That's why you're on the show. Give me the Chiefs. Yep. Play Patrick Mahomes this week if you're debating it, on your fantasy teams. I'm looking for big stuff from Mahomes. Cowboys at 49ers on Sunday Night Football. Not the game that we maybe thought it was going to be at the beginning of the season. 49ers are favored by 4.5. Austin, what do you got here?
Sorry, a little connection issue there on my part. I'm going to take the Cowboys in this one, though. I really like an underdog matchup here on Tricky Telecast this week. This was a game we talked about, and we all three actually picked the boys. So go boys, like right, Parker?
Yeah, absolutely. Should I just pick up here?
Yep.
All right, here we go. So my thing is that, man, Brock Purdy is really in a spotlight here. Like Brock Purdy is this is probably the most crucial game and he's been to Super Bowls. This could be like one of the most crucial games of his career as far as his money goes. So we're really about to find out what Brock Purdy's worth. I think the Cowboys win. Brock Purdy's 4-8 when he's missing one of Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, or George Kittle, and I think he's missing 2 or 3 of those guys this week.
Mm-hmm.
So that being, and the rest of the team's banged up. I think the Cowboys got to get a win here. This is not a good spot for the Niners or Brock Purdy.
That was a great stat, Parker. Ben.
Yeah, give me the 49ers. They're at home. They are the better team, even though neither team has looked good so far. If the Cowboys were healthier, I'd give them a chance in every single game that they're playing this year. But they're still banged up too. Last I heard, Micah Parsons isn't playing. Y'all can correct me if that's changed. But I see the 49ers putting it back together again this week. Not a blowout by any stretch, but I just don't see where the Cowboys are going to be able to scrape together this win. Give me the 49ers.
Yeah, Micah Parsons is still already ruled out, as is corner Deron Bland over there on the 49er side. Yeah, I mean, all your usual suspects are. Jawan Jennings is out too. We thought earlier in the week he might be able to get this together and play. Deebo Samuel is going to try to play as well, but he tried to play last week too. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, both teams completely banged up, but the 49ers are still putting up numbers and some stats that you like to see. The main issue for them is their run defense, and so far the Cowboys aren't a team that can take advantage of that. Dalvin Cook looking to maybe play this week, so we'll see if that changes anything for Dallas. But give me the 49ers as well. Monday Night Football, Giants at Steelers. The Steelers are favored by 6 points at home. Parker, what do you got?
Steelers, pretty easily. I think Russell Wilson, everyone's kind of, I've seen all the memes this week of Mike Tomlin just being right with the whole Russell Wilson thing. And I think this Giants team isn't a team that's going to stop anything that they did last week or showed last week with Russell. So give me the Steelers.
Austin.
Steelers by a billion in this one. I love the Steelers matchup against the Giants in particular. I think they match up really well to just steamroll the Giants.
Ben.
Mike Tomlin is just one of my favorite guys, and this past 8 days has just shown why. I mean, I picked him to miss the playoffs for the first time in forever in this offseason. He's done nothing but do the opposite so far. He's on the sidelines smirking at Aaron Rodgers because he called a timeout before Aaron could pull the 12-minute on a field penalty. He's making funny comments to the media. He's pushing all the right buttons on defense and at quarterback and everything right now, like the Wizard of Oz. I mean, he's just, he's doing fantastic. Steelers by a lot. My campaign has begun, though, to tell the Giants to keep Brian Dable as head coach, even though they're going to look ugly for the rest of the year. He's the right guy. The roster just isn't correct. They usually ignore me, though.
You guys gush about the Steelers enough. I am not going to take your reverse jinx. I'm just going to say Steelers, and we're going to move on. So those were our picks. It's time to hit our bets. Austin, you've alluded to a couple of your bets already. How about you hit us with one?
Okay, so I'll start out with this is a three-leg parlay of three teams to all win by 2 touchdowns or more. Those teams are the Steelers, like I said, Steelers by 1 billion. The Chiefs, that's a great matchup against the Raiders, and the Lions taking on the Titans. I think all three of those teams will win by 14 or more. That is at plus 1,665, mostly on the back of the Steelers leg. They're not predicted to win by that much, but I'm very confident they will. I'm going to put 5 on it, and a chance to win 83.25 on that one.
Nuts. Ben, hit us with your first one.
I too almost picked two teams to win by a lot, the Lions being one of them. But I decided, you know what? That's no fun. Let me bet on something more fun. So my first one will be Dak Prescott in that game. He's passing for a lot of yards. Vegas expects him to. I'm actually going to step it up a little bit. So over 275 passing yards in this game. Whether they're winning or losing, they're going to be passing the football a lot. So I can get plus 210 on that, and I'll bet 5 on it.
I like it. Parker.
All right, so this one's a fun one. I'm gonna pick a bet from my Cowboys and Niners game on Sunday, and I have Jordan Mason and Rico Dowdle to both have 5+ rushing yards in each quarter, and it's at plus 800 for or 5 goats to make 40 goats.
All right. I like that. I like that.
It's an
We'll see.
interesting one.
I think we'll see some running for sure in 5+ yards. Wow, that's okay. Interesting.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna go back to our ugly game. You guys got some of the high profile games here. I'm gonna go to the ugly game. Nick Bonito over 0.25 sacks for plus 145. I feel really good about this. Bryce Young took 7 sacks in his like 2.25 game he's played so far this season. Two of those, his 2 full games, multiple sacks. Benito has a sack in each of the last 5 games. And at first, I wasn't going to take that because it felt like it was going to be such an outlier. This has happened dozens of times in NFL history. I mean, the longest streak was Chris Jones with 11 straight games in 2018, I think. So this is not as big of an outlier as I thought to go 6 straight games. And against Bryce Young, with none of his receivers to look for, he's got Deontay Johnson who gets open really quickly. He's going to be looking and staring things down. Hasn't played in a few weeks for a full game. So I think Benito gets another sack in this one. I just need half a sack, and that gets me plus 145. I'm going to put 10 on that for 1450. Austin, hit us with your next bet.
This is a crazy one. So every week this season has had at least one team score 41 points or more. Didn't happen on Thursday, and I'm taking at least one team, any team, to score 41 points or more on Sunday. So this doesn't include the Monday night game, which that's the Steelers game. I expect them to win by a lot, but probably lower scoring. But the Chiefs, the Lions,
Yep.
the Broncos, like there's quite a few teams. The Ravens, like there's quite a few teams I think could easily score 41 or more. So this one's odds are pretty nice too. Minus 125. I'm gonna put 42.8. I'm really confident in this one. I'm betting the house on this one. To win 34.24 if it hits. So not super great odds, or for how easy it will hit, I think it's great odds.
By far our biggest bet that has been laid down so far this season. So we're all rooting for you and or your demise this week, Austin. Ben, what's your next bet? You've got a familiar one.
I do. I like that bet by Austin, though. That's one we haven't seen this year, and I didn't know that stat about 41 points every week this year. But I like that. We could even see it a couple of times this week, right? So I definitely like that one. I'm going to go back here to Drake May passing yards. I don't even have it pulled up. I think we're going for over 225 passing yards, and it's plus something. So 5 points on that. But the reason I like it, I alluded to this in our pick'em game here on the Patriots and the Jets. The Jets secondary is all beat to pieces right now. They are beat to pieces now. DJ Reed is full pads all this week, but still he had the groin injury. I don't expect him to really be at 100% motor, but they got a couple of safeties out. They've got Michael Carter's out for this game. There's another guy who's been a little bit banged up as well. So you already had a Jets defense that even when Robert Saleh was there, was only playing about 10th or 11th best in the league. Since he's been gone, they've actually played a little worse than that, as Austin already mentioned here. Patriots may not score a lot of points, but I do feel like Drake May can get the passing yardage here in this game, and I expect you'll see that with the Patriots at home.
Parker, take us to your next one.
All right, this is it. Parlay of the week. I have a five-legger this week, and it is not too crazy. I think this one's actually very realistic to hit. I'm going to take the Packers minus 200, the Texans at minus 230, Falcons minus 2.5 against the Bucks, the Chargers and the Steelers, all pretty much outright to win except for the Falcons, and that's at plus 655. So I'm putting 10 goats on it to make 65 goats.
All right, I'm going to round things off here with Saquon Barkley over 90 rushing yards. It's plus 130. It sounds really high, but they are playing the Bengals, who are 27th in rush attempts allowed and 21st in rushing yards allowed. They're also 22nd in rush defense DVOA and 29th in EPA allowed per rush. They've given up a 90-yard runner in 4 of the 7 games this season. And Barkley has had 84 or more rushing yards in all but 1 game this season. So this number is right around where it needs to be. And I think the Eagles it's going to be a shootout, but they play through their run game. So give me Barkley over 90 rushing yards. And I'm going to put 10 goats on that. All right. That does it, everybody. That was our Box Score Network Week 8 NFL preview show. Thank you all so much for checking out. Again, make sure you check out all of these guys on their individual audio podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at BScore Network to get all of those updates. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Make sure you're checking out any other previews that we are putting up. And enjoy the games. Have fun. We'll see you next week.